Marlbs here. And you know, today I want to take a minute and talk to you about storage. Xbox storage right now is probably one of the hottest topics in the Xbox community, and probably the question that I field the most from Xbox fans. They ask me, what storage should I buy? What storage is best? Is this a good deal? Is that a good deal? I think I'm getting ripped off. I think I'm not getting ripped off. So let's answer some questions about storage today, okay? So first of all, let's go over the storage matrix, okay? This is what I like to call, will it run on my console? And the answer is Series S and X games have to run from Series S and X storage, which means that it has to run from either the internal SSD or something like this Western Digital storage expansion card. Now, this storage expansion card, as we've looked at previously, plugs into the back of your console. This one holds 1 terabyte, and it allows you to run Xbox Series games from either this storage expansion card or your internal hard drive. Now, it does see it as another hard drive device, and you just install games on it just like normal. So it's really not that big of a deal. Now, here are the other options that you do have. Now, if you're talking about older Xbox One titles or Xbox 360 or original Xbox backwards compatibility titles, you can run them on something like this 3.5 inch. This is a full-size hard drive. It's an external. It's USB 3.0 compatible, I believe. This is a 2.5 inch. It happens to be a Western Digital hard drive. This one here happens to be 4 terabytes in storage. It is 3.1 compatible. This is a Samsung T7 SSD. It connects with USB-C, so you use a USB-C to USB-A adapter to run it from your console. Now, even though this is SSD storage, which is similar to the storage that we were talking about here in our storage expansion card that we looked at a minute ago, the problem is with an external USB SSD like this, you cannot run Xbox Series games from it. However, these 3 different storage types can be used to run the older titles and probably your apps as well. Now, some series games can be dubbed down to run from slower storage. That is an option that developers do have. But, you know, let's be real here. What is the best way to get my maximum performance out of the storage that I buy? I always tell people, first of all, the USB port on the Xbox is limited to USB 3 devices. So even if you buy a USB 3.1, 3.2 series hard drive or SSD and connect it to your Xbox Series console USB port, what do you still get? USB 3 performance. Now, what does that mean? Well, what that means is you're capped. You get USB 3 speeds. The only thing that you can improve on is the delivery of the data from the drive to the USB port. Now, how can you do that? Well, SSD is always fastest because if you use a 3.5 inch hard drive, you still have the seat time of the heads repositioning themselves to retrieve the data and retrieve the data from the platters, load it in and transmit it, where on the SSD, the entire process is electronic. So you have some latency. So if you want the best performance, what I usually tell people is if you need capacity, 7200 3.5 inch external drive is going to be your best option. And if you want speed, overall speed, don't care so much about capacity, well, a USB 3 SSD is fine. The 2 terabyte ones are down to about $100 now, so a lot of people are going that route. The thing then we need to talk about is, well, how do I optimize my storage? Well, first of all, you have to treat your internal storage and your storage expansion card as a very important rationed resource, because you only have a limited amount of it and you can only have so many games installed at one time. For example, I just installed the new Crime Boss game and it was almost 100 gig. Now, the question I have is that when games are 75 to 100 gig coming out and you only have, let's say, 800 gig free on your 1 terabyte drive, that really presents a problem because you can't have that much stuff installed. That reality is something that I think Microsoft has, addressing as best as they can. People may complain about the storage expansion cards, but the design of the storage expansion cards allows for hot swappability, which allows you to have multiple cards if you needed to. The other option, of course, is you can copy games from the storage expansion card or the internal SSD over to slow storage, like your 7200 RPM hard drive that has big storage. I have an 8 terabyte one of those myself, and I copy a lot of games over there just so I don't have to re-download them, but I can keep them updated. I unfortunately think that this and moving apps off and trying not to use your storage for games that don't require it are your best, ways of trying to use the storage in the best way possible to get the most out of your internal and your storage expansion card. My name's Marlbs. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you can. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.